Alright, so here we have our sheet for the KSP2907A transistor. So according to this sheet, we should be able to find the DC current gain for when we plug it into a DMM to measure what gain it shows. So the DMM should show a value between what it has here for HFE DC current gain for these different currents from the base. The gain can be anywhere from 50 to 100, but it has a max of 300, so realistically the DMM should measure something between 100 and 300. We have our transistor, and I'm going to put it into the DMM to measure the gain across it. And the gain measured is 125, so according to our sheet online, that should be correct.
So now we've discussed how a transistor works, at least in theory. We're going to go into a little bit more depth and actually see what happens when we plug it into a real circuit. So we're using a PNP transistor here, which essentially what that does is you send in a large current through the emitter and you send in a smaller current through the base. And then you get out a much larger current than you put in, which is kind of the reason for a transistor. It really revolutionized the way that electronics work. So essentially what we're doing here is we're sending a small current into the base, and one of the things we notice when we're doing this is that if you send a large current through the base, you don't get any current moving. The transistor doesn't work at all if you don't spend this in a small amount of current. So as you can see, as we drop one of the currents down, the current coming out drops down as well, which makes a lot of sense. Obviously, if you put in less current, you're going to get less out. If you put in more current, you're going to get more out until the shutoff point, at which point nothing goes out. And again, even though it's activated at a small current, if you don't put any current in, you're still not going to get anything out. I mean, it's transistors don't just create current out of nowhere. And then one of the other things that we learned while doing this lab is if you put a very large current, roughly 20 volts, into your transistor, eventually the resistor you have, reducing the current a little bit, will start to smoke a little bit, which is just a lovely smell. It's something that I'm glad I got to smell in lab. So thank you for watching the video.